Alright, class, so last time we were on page 209. Dealing with these systems of linear equations. And we left off on number 7 here. Alright, so if we have a total of $180 and you only have $5 bills and $10 bills. Alright, you have 9 more 10s than you have of 5s. How many of each bill do you have? Well, let's F be the number of 5s. T be the number of 10s. So let's see, if we have 180 bucks, we got $5 times the number of 5s, $10 times the number of 10s. That should give us 180 bucks. And there's 9 more 10s than you have 5s. If we take the number of 5s and add 9, that's how many 10s we have. So we have 2 equations with 2 unknowns. Solve them. Let's see, we could do substitution. That's easy enough, right? Let's take F here and rewrite it like that. And we can plug that in right there. That would give us a 5. The t minus 9 plus 10t is 180. Now I have one equation with one unknown. We could solve for t. So let's see here. We have 5t minus 45 plus 10t equals 180. So 5t and 10t is 15t. 180 plus 45 would be 225. So t is 225 over 15, which is 225 divided by 15, which is 15. So now you know what t is. 15 minus 9 is 6. So we have 15 10s and 6 5s. We can check our answers, make sure they validate both of these equations. Let's plug them into this one here. We have F is 6. All right, 6 plus 9 is 15, and that's what t is. So first equation satisfied. Let's check the second one. 5 times 6 plus 10 times 15. That's 30 plus 150, which is 180. So yeah, we're good to go there. Alternatively, we could have done the elimination method. So if we were going to do that, we need to get all our F's and T's lined up. All right, we want our F's first, our T's second. Let's scoot this over a little bit. All right. If we're going to make an augmented matrix, we take our F's. We have a 5 and a 1, got a 10 and a minus 1. and then 180 and a negative 9. All right, that's what the augmented matrix would be. But let's see, if we just look at this one, if we multiply through by 5, we have a 5, 5, and negative 40. Now if we subtract them, 5f minus 5f is 0f's. 10 minus a negative 5 would be 15t. And then 180 minus a negative 45 is 225. So that would tell us that t is 15 divided by both sides by 15. And of course, we could plug that in here, solve for f. All right. Let's look at number 8. So a retired couple has $130,000 to invest to obtain annual income. They need to invest some in a safe certificate of deposit yielding 0.5%, and the rest in riskier AA bonds yielding 1.1% per year. Assume both yield simple interest. How much should they invest in each to realize exactly $1,190 per year? Well, let's see. Simple interest. The interest is the principal times the rate times the time. All right. So they have this the total amount of principal. It's $130,000 here, right? But they have two accounts. There's going to be one at this interest rate and another at this interest rate. All right. So let's say that this is P1 plus P2, two different principals. We don't know how much yet we're going to put into each account. All right. But we know that together they add up to $130,000. Okay. So the second equation, because we got two unknowns here, P1 and P2. We have to use this. They want to get this much interest. So the interest on the first account that's at this rate, the interest would be P1 times the interest rate, 0.05%. That's 0.005. And the time is 1 year. And then the second account is 1.1%. And again, it's for 1 year. So this is the interest from each account, and it should add up to be 1,190. All right. Does everybody follow that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, this is interest 1 and interest 2. So let's rewrite this a little bit prettier, right? The 0.005 P1, 0.011 P2 should be 1190. I'm just rewriting this one a little bit prettier. And then we had this one here. I'm going to rewrite it like this. P1 plus P2 equals 130,000. So that our P1s and P2s are lined up. So here's our two equations with two unknowns. So let's see, we can do it by substitution, all right? P1 is going to be 130,000 minus P2. We'll plug that in right there. That'll give us 0.005, 130,000 minus P2. So that's just substituting. So if we multiply this guy through, let's see, 130 times 0.005, 650. And multiply through there. Okay, so combining P2s here, we got 0.011 minus 0.005 gives us 0.006 P2. 1190 minus 650. It's 540. P2 is 540 divided by 0.006, which is $90,000. 90. So now that we know that, we can plug it in right here. And we get $40,000. So those are the two amounts. 90 and 40 add up to be 130. Satisfy that. And if we check this one, let's see, we have 0.005 times 40,000 is 0.011 times 90,000. All right, we're checking our work here. So let's see. 0.011. This is 990. 40,000 times 0.005, 200. So this would be, yeah. All right, so that's one way to do it. Let's do the elimination method here. All right, just for fun, what would the augmented matrix look like? It would be 0.005, 1, 0.011, 1, 1190, and 130,000. So let's see, if we took this guy, multiplied it through by 0.005, 130,000 would become 130,000 times 0.005 becomes 650. Now if we subtract, the P1s go away, and the P2s, we got 0.011 minus 0.005, we get 0.006 P2 equals 1190 minus 650 equals 540. So P2 would be 540 divided by 0.006. Be 90,000. Now we know that, we can plug that in to any one of these and find P1, which again we found was 40,000. Oops. All right, 210 matrices. All right, determine the size of each matrix. Whenever you talk about matrices, it's always rows first and columns second. The thing has 3 rows and 2 columns, so it's a 3 by 2. 3 rows, 2 columns, it's a 3 by 2. 2 rows, 3 columns, it's a 2 by 3. 2 rows, 1 column, it's a 2 by 1. Write each system as an augmented matrix. The x's and the y's are lined up. So this should be a 5 and a 1, right? That's 1x. -4, -2, 9, -3. So it'll be a 3, a 1, a -1, -2, 2, 4, -3, 3, -6, 5, -3, -1. Okay. Remember, the way you'd solve something like that is you'd add 2 columns together and replace it. So this one we could multiply through, well, we could just add these. If we added these 2 columns, the 2 and the -2 would go away. So if we added these 3 and 1, become 4. Okay. We want to end up with 1s down here and 0s everywhere else. So if we replace this guy with the sum of these two, 3 and 1 make 4, 2 and -2 make 0, 3 and -3 make 0. All right, and then you keep doing things like that until you get all 1s here and 0s everywhere else. Once you do that, this over here tells you what your answer is, your x, your y, and your z. Your x, your y, and your z. So this is asking you to go the other way. All right, here's the matrix. What would the equations be? Row 1 tells you that 3x minus 2y plus 4z equals 6. Row 2 tells you 9x plus 4y minus z equals 0. This one says it's 6x minus 8y minus 3z equals 3. So this one, use it to write a solution. Well, what does the rows say? The first row says that x plus 0y -7. The second one says that 0x plus 1y equals 4. So that's our solution, -7, 4. Right? Once you have a diagonal of all 1s and everything else is 0, that's your solution. So homework. Let's see. Solve using an algebraic method. They don't give you any 3 by 3s, so they keep it easy. You can do all those by substitution if you want. And a lot of word problems. And the answer key to all the homework. Which is helpful. That's why whenever you turn in your exams and your quizzes, you have to show your work. You can't just write an answer down. Okay, but definitely use the answer key to check your answers. And that is the end of this packet. So the rest of the semester, we're going to be doing review to make sure we're masters of all of this stuff. And we're going to, I'm going to encourage y'all to come up with math problems of your own. You know, any kind of questions you have in your life about things you're interested in or just curious about, and we'll work those problems in class. If you come up with some interesting problems, I'll give you extra credit. And so in addition to review, I'm hoping that we can have some fun with the remaining classes that we have. Any questions?
No, sir,
No,
not that
sir.
I can think of.
All right, cool. See, I didn't know how long it would take to go through this packet, so I just made sure that we got through all of it. So now let's do some review. How are y'all doing with percent and proportions? Shall we work some of these homework problems? I think I've assigned all of these so far.
Yes, sir. I mean, yeah, I want to go over them just a little bit.
All right. Any of these you're having particular problems with?
I guess if anything, just go over number 7.
All right. All right. Review. All right, Mary has swim practice 20 out of 28 days in February. All right, what percent of the month of February does Mary have swim practice? Round it to the nearest tenth of a percent. Okay, let's see. Well, she has swim practice 20 out of 28 days, right? So 20 divided by 28. This is 0.71403. All right, so what percent? We need to convert this to a percent. So this is 71.43. They want it rounded to the nearest tenth, right? So I forgot my percent sign. So this is the answer that they're looking for. Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions about that one? That was pretty straightforward.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We solved some of these harder ones. Y'all can do these by now, right? Just the simple solving for x and b and x.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, these word problems. Let's see. Heidi walks at a rate of 4.5 miles an hour. At that rate, how far can she walk in 50 minutes? All right, so this is unit conversions here, right? So we want to take 50 minutes and turn that into a distance, right? So 50 minutes. We can multiply it by 1, right? We have 4.5 miles per hour, right? All right, 4.5 miles is the same as 1 hour. But we have minutes and hours here, right? We got to get rid of minutes and get rid of hours. So put minutes down here, so the minutes and minutes go away. Put hours up there, so the hours go away. we know 1 hour is the same as 60 minutes, right? So we have here 50 times 4.5 over 60, which would be 50 times 4.5 divided by 60, 3.75 miles. We have to keep my miles here. So I have miles. Does this sound reasonable? 4.5 miles an hour. So if she walked for an hour, it'd be 4.5 miles, right? 50 minutes is just short of an hour. So it should be short of 4.5 miles, 3.75. That sounds reasonable. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. All right, real estate tax. I think I gave this one as an exam or something. You want me to work this one?
Sure. Thank you.
All right, let's see. The tax for a house valued at 150,000 is 15.75. Sorry, $1,575. So that's the tax. All right, at this rate, what is the value of a house for which the real estate tax is this much? All right, so they're giving us a price of a house and its tax, and then they're giving us the tax of a different house, and they want to know what the value is. So they're saying at this rate. Well, let's see. There's a couple of ways this set up as a percent and solve. Okay, well, let's find out what the percent is, right? This rate. So we have the taxes and the price of the house. We can figure out what the tax rate is. So let's see, it's $1,575 out of 150,000, right? That's going to be our rate. So 1575 divided by 150, which is 0.0105. That's 1.05%. Okay. So at that rate, here's this other house, and its taxes is that much, right? So whatever the principal is for the other house, when you multiply it by this tax rate, all right, you should get this $22.99.50. All right, so the principal for the other house is 2299.5 divided by 0.0105. So 2299.5 divided by 0.0105 gives us 219,000. So that's one way to do it. The other way is set up as a proportion. So let's see. 1575 is to 150,000, right? The taxes to the price of the house is the same as the taxes to the price of the house. All right, y'all follow that? Tax of the house, price of the house, tax of the house, price of the house as a proportion. So to get P here, we'll just flip-flop. It's the same thing as P over 2299. 150, 150, 1575. So I just flip these over and switch sides. So it tells me that P is that times this. So 150,000 times 2299.5 divided by 1575, which is equal to 219,000. Notice this is dollars, and this is dollars. Those dollars canceled, and we're left with a single dollar sign. All right. When you use your units, like I should have been doing, it'll kind of guide you. All right. If you might set the problem up, and what if you end up with dollars, right? That doesn't make sense. Dollars times dollars, right? You should end up with a single dollar sign. So it's good to always write your units. Check out 17. Michael took 2.5 hours to drive 157.5 miles on the toll road. If he continues at that rate, how many hours will it take him to drive a distance of 210 miles? All right, so what you're saying here is 2.5 hours is equivalent to 157.5 miles. Okay, so if you put those 2.5 hours or 157.5 miles, that's your unit. That's number one. Okay, so they want to know what is 210 miles in time. So 210 miles, we just need to do the conversion, right? We want how many hours? We want hours. We got to get rid of miles. Okay, so we know that 2.5 hours or 2.5 hours is the same as 157.5 miles. So the miles go away. We're left with hours. We have 210 times 2.5 divided by 157.5, which is 3.33 hours, or 3 1/3 hours, right? Or 3 hours, 20 minutes. All right, in a wildlife study, 50 penguins are captured, tagged, and then returned. A few weeks later, in the same, I guess, lake or place, 300 penguins are examined. Of those 300, 4 of them have tags. Estimate the number of penguins in the area. So out of the entire area, 50 of them are captured and tagged. So that's like the population there. I'll use P for population. So 50 of them out of the whole population are tagged. Then a few weeks later, they take 300 of them. They catch 300 and find that 4 are tagged. So they know 4 out of 300 are tagged in the area. Originally, they knew 50 out of all of them were tagged, right? Because they caught 50 of them, tagged every single one. So out of the whole population, 50 of them are tagged. Later, they caught 300, and they saw that 4 had tags. So 4 out of 300 is to 50 out of the population. So to solve for P, We'll flip these over. I'll multiply both sides by 50. So we get 300 times 50 divided by 4. 3,750 is the estimate for how many penguins there are. All right, kitty cat. I'm sitting on my keyboard again. All right, let's see. 6 pounds of carrots yield 20 cups of trimmed, gleaned, grated carrots. How many pounds of carrots are needed to obtain 7 cups? All right, let's see. 6 pounds of carrots yield 20 cups. So how many pounds of carrots will make 7 cups? So we're looking at pounds of carrots to cups of trimmed, gleaned, grated carrots. So 6 is to 20 as x is to 7. So x is 7 times 6 over 20, which is 6, 2.1 cups. All right, let's see. All right, the ratio of the weight of an object on Earth to the weight of the same object on Pluto is 100 to 3. The ratio of the weight of an object on Earth to the weight of the same object is 100 to 3. I guess things, what weighs 100 pounds on Earth would weigh 3 pounds on Pluto, because Pluto is much smaller than Earth. It doesn't have the same gravitational pull. All right, so if an elephant weighs 15,400 pounds on Earth, how much will it weigh on Pluto? Well, 100 is to 3, as 15,400 is to x. Weight on Earth, weight on Pluto. Weight on Earth, weight on Pluto. So let's see, x over 15,400, 3 over 100. Multiply both sides by this dude, and then multiply it out. 15,400 times 3 divided by 100. 462 pounds. A 170-pound person weighs 85 pounds on Mars. How much would our 15,400-pound elephant weigh on Mars? All right, well, weight on Mars, weight on Earth. Weight on Mars, weight on Earth. So x is 170 times 15,400. £7,700. All right, there are 110 calories for 28.4 grams of Rice Krispie treats. How many calories would 42.6 grams have? 100 110 calories for 28.4 grams. So how many calories? 42.6 grams. Okay. Leave that one. We'll just have the calories built into the x. So x is 110 calories times 42.6 grams over 28.4 grams. Grams go away. We have calories 110 times 42.6 divided by 28.4. 165 calories. All right, makes sense. All right, from 28.4 to 42, 110 goes to 165. Sounds reasonable. All right, a blueprint is scaled to 1 inch equals 4 feet. So 1 inch and 4 feet is the pure number 1. Find the length of a closet which is drawn as 4 and 3/4 inches. 4 and 3/4 inches. That's 4.75 inches. That's how it's drawn in the blueprint. But what is that in the real world? Well, we multiply it by our pure 1 here. In this case, we got to get rid of inches. We need feet. You know, 4 feet is 1 inch. So inches go away. 4.75 times 4. 19 feet. At a certain animal shelter, the ratio of puppies to adult dogs is 7 to 4. Okay, so there's 7, for every 7 puppies, there's 4 dogs, adult dogs. This week, there are a total of 55 dogs in the shelter. How many puppies are in the shelter this week? All right, well, let's see. The ratio of puppies to adult dogs is 7 to 4, but they want to know about the puppies. All right, well, 7 puppies, right? The ratio of puppies to the total population, 7 plus 4 is 11. So this is 7 puppies per 11 total, okay? Puppies and adults. All right, because they say there are that many dogs. That's adults and puppies. So they want to know how many puppies there are this week. Well, how many out of 55 total? All right, this one's confusing because a lot of people put 7 over 4. Okay, but you have to add them together because we're looking at the total number of dogs in the shelter. You know, puppies and adult dogs. So number of puppies to the total, right? Because this is the ratio, right? It's 7 to 11. Is going to be the same as x to 55. So x would be 7 times 55 over 11. 7 times 55 divided by 11, which is 35 puppies. 35 out of 55. Does that sound reasonable? Right? For every 7 puppies, there's 4 adult dogs. So there should be more puppies than adults, right? So if there's a total of 55, 35 puppies. This sounds about right. Let's do one more here. A team of college administrators captured and tagged a group of 90 fraternity men and then returned them to the university campus. This sounds fun. All right. Later, a group of sorority women, wishing to estimate the number of fraternity men on campus, captured 245 men and found that 35 of them were tagged. How many frat men would they estimate there were on this campus? Well, let's see. The administrators tagged 90 of them, right? So 90 were tagged out of the total population. And later, they found that 35 of them were tagged out of the 245 that were caught. So P over 90, 245 over 35. Multiply both sides by 90. So 90 times 245 divided by 35, 630. All right, let's take a 12-minute break until 10 o'clock, and then we'll get back to our review here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see. Let's throw in problem we'll make up here. Let's see. I clean rooms at a hotel, right? And I'm always complaining that people don't leave tips. So let's assume that people left a $5 tip for each room that I clean. And I clean, well, on average, 13 rooms in a day. So in one day, I could make $5 times 13 rooms. What is that? Let's see, 5 times 13. I could make 65 bucks in tips in a day. And let's say I work five days a week, and there's 52 weeks in a year, and then $65 per day. That would be 65 times 52 times 5. That's 65,
16,900.
50. Am I doing that right? 52 weeks, 5 days a week. Yeah. So $65. 65 times 52 weeks times 5 days a week. $16,900. Yeah, I guess so. So now let's say I invest that money into a bank account at 4% interest. So I would have the amount is PRT. We're just going to do, no, let's do compounded annually. Let's put it in the bank for 20 years. So the amount would be principal times 1 plus R over N to the NT. So we're going to compound it annually, put this 1 year's worth of tips in the bank, and we're going to put it in for 20 years for my daughter's college fund. So we have 16,900, 1 plus 0.04 for 1 to the 1 time a year. We're compounding annually, so N is 1. The time is 20 years. So let's see, I got 1.04 to the power of 20 And now multiply that by 16,900. That gives me 37,098 cents. So that's just 1 year's worth of tips, right? So that's quite a bit for towards a college fund, just putting the tips away. Even if I didn't get any tips, you know, if I just put $5 out of my pocket, that'd be quite a bit, because I think I make about $5 per room, because I clean a room in about 30 minutes if I'm going to do a good job, and I make about $10 an hour. So that would basically be as much as I'm making as a housekeeper a year right there. All right, so yeah, what if we smoked cigarettes and we decided to quit and we smoked a $5 pack a day? All right, so in 1 year we would have $5 per pack, right? Times 365 days. 365 times 5. All right, that's $1,825. Now, if I put that into the bank, all right, for 20 years at 4% interest, here, let's compound it continuously. Why not? E to the rate times the time, 20 years, just 1 year of cigarette money. We have, let's see, 0.04 times 20. Now e to the, now times 1825. That gives me $4,000 and 61 cents. So that's just 1 year, right? If I did that every year for the 20 years, all right, we would have quite a bit, right? So the second year, that'd just be from the first year, right? The second year, we would have this, the original 1825. Well, that's already included in this. We would have, this would be collecting interest. Well, we already did the interest, so let's see. Year 2, we would have the $5 a day for that second year and 4% interest, but for 19 years, right? Because we want to see how much it's going to be in 20 years exactly. So for the second year, we have the same amount saved from not smoking. And so this is going to be in the bank for 19 years. And then we do the E to the, and then times 1825. That gives us $3,902.35. So if we kept doing that for 20 years, you know, right, A sub 3, that one's going to be in there for 18 years. All right, let's see. We'll see how much it's dropping by each time. So 0.04 times 18 e to the times 1825, $3,749. So the first time we dropped by about 150 bucks, and then another 150 bucks. So each year it's going to drop by about 150 bucks, right? But you can see that's going to add up to quite a bit, you know. For another 4,000, that's already 8,000. 4,000. But I mean, we could do it. I'm not going to waste y'all's time to do all 20 of them. But you could see that the amount of money that you would save by not smoking and investing that money over 20 years is going to add up to quite a large amount of money. You know, definitely enough to pay for your child's college. So I encourage y'all all to invest and to at least save. Right now, it's hard to find anything that's going to give you a 4% return unless you're investing in stocks wisely. I hear the stock market boomed when they came out with a vaccine for the coronavirus. The stock market has been like dismal, and that's when you want to buy those, whenever it's down really low, right? So what I do is I just buy a little bit every month, and I buy Apple stock. So I just buy a little bit every month, like $50 a month, no matter what the price is. I just buy $50 worth of it, and over time it goes up. It goes up a lot, actually. All right, let's get back. Y'all have any questions, any ideas, problems you want to investigate? Just keep them in mind, write some down, and then the next class, if there's anything you want to calculate, we will do our best to figure it out in class. We'll continue with our review here. Okay. All right, if there are 95 male students for every 100 female students at Northwest Vista, then the nearest 0.1%, what percent of the students are female? All right, female, let's see. Well, there's 100 female students for every 195 total students, right? This is female to total. All right, so that would be 100 divided by 195 is 0.5282, or 52.82%. They want it to the nearest tenth, so that's 52.8%. Y'all understand why we had to add these together to put it on the bottom? Because we're looking for the percent that are female, so we have to look at the female to the total. I know when I graded these, a lot of y'all will just put 100 over 95. You just basically start taking numbers and cramming them together, but you got to lay it out correctly here. All right. So female to total. This one requires a lot of reading. My favorite. All right, Grills R Us is attempting to stimulate business by offering a We Pay the Tax Day. Their advertisement includes the statement, "Come buy a $400 barbecue pit without paying any sales tax." Even though it appears that the customer pays no tax, Grills R Us must still send a portion of the $400 to the appropriate taxing authority. Essentially, the $400 that the customer pays includes the tax. Hence, the seller must calculate the actual before-tax price of the barbecue pit, which the price for which the item could have been sold, so that after 8.25% tax is added on, the total would be $400. What is the actual selling price of the barbecue pit? Okay, well, let's see. We got some price. Let's see. So let's see, the interest is PRT, right? So we have the price plus the interest needs to be $400, right? So we got the price and the interest, PRT. Here, the time is just once, right? It's simple interest. So the price times the rate would be the interest here, right? So of P times 1 plus R has to be 400, factoring the P out here, right? So the P, R here is 0.0825. So 1.0825p, 400. So p is 400 divided by 1.0825. 400 divided by 1.0825. It's $369.52. Let's check. All right, we don't want to put out the wrong price and end up losing money on our barbecue pits. $369.52. If we add to that the interest would be that times 0.0825, right? So we got 369.52, 369.52 times 0.0825. So the tax here is $30.49. So if we add that to our 369.52, we get 400. So this is our price. You'll follow how I laid that out, right? The selling price is 400 bucks. That needs to be the price plus the interest. So the price, the interest is the price times the interest rate, right? So there you have it. You have to solve for P. Factor out a P, replace R with this interest rate, and then do the arithmetic. Cindy sees a bag she wants for $32.99. If the bag is on sale for 30% off, how much of a discount will she receive? What will be the sell price? Well, let's see. If it's 30% off, then she only has to pay 70%, right? So if we take that and multiply it by 0.7, 32.99 times 0.7. She is paying $23.09. How much of a discount is she receiving? She's receiving a 30% discount. 32.99 times 0.3. She's getting a $9.90 discount. Okay. We could also subtract this from that. All right. Mana wants to buy a TV for $1,250, but it is on sale for 10% off. The sales tax is 8.25%. How much tax will he have to pay? What will the total cost of the TV be? All right, so we have this price, but it's 10% off, and then we have that much tax. Well, if it's 10% off, then the asking price here is $1,250 times 0.9. It's $1,125. All right, but the tax is this much, so we have that plus the tax on it, which is that times 0.0825. This is your total amount. So times 0.0825 plus 1125, which comes out to $1,217.81. That's the total cost. This is the tax, right, which was 1125 times 0.0825, $92.81 in tax. All right, Ginger gets a haircut that costs $35. She really likes her haircut and wants to leave a 20% tip to her hairdresser. How much tip will she leave? All right, well, 35 times 20%, 35 times 0.2 is $7. All right, $7 tip. All right, how much tip will she? Yeah, so she'd have to leave $42, right, total. The cost of Robert's tickets decreased as the season went on. They started at 45 and eventually sold for 23. What was the percent decreased to the nearest percent? Let's see here. So 23 out of 45. So let's see, 23 divided by 45 is 0.5111 or 51.11% decrease, right? Half of 45 would be 23.5, right? Or 22.5? 22.5, $22.50 would be exactly half, which would be a 50% decrease. This is a little bit more than $22.50. It's $23. So it's a little bit more than a 50% decrease. It's a 51.11% decrease. All right, let's get the explanation ones. Mixtures. All right, in the Mississippi River Delta, fresh water at 0% salinity mixes with salt water from the Gulf of Mexico at 3.5% salinity. If 1,000 gallons of water, river water, mixes with 3,000 gallons from the Gulf, how many gallons result and what is its percent salinity? All right, let's see. Volume 1 will be our river water, right? It's 1,000 gallons. Volume 2 will be our salt water from the Gulf, 3,000 gallons. So volume 3, which is V1 plus V2, is going to be 4,000 gallons. All right, so the concentration for V1 is river water, which is 0% salinity. Concentration 2 goes with our salt water, and it says it is 3.5% salinity. All right. How many gallons result and what is the salinity? Well, remember our equation. V1C1 plus V2C2 equals V3C3. All right. One volume at its concentration added to the other volume at its concentration gives you a third volume at its concentration. So we're solving for C3 here. So C3 is all of that divided by V3. So V1, 1,000 gallons at 0%. V2 is 3,000 gallons at 3.5%. And B3 is 4,000 gallons. This here is 0. Gallons go away. So we have 3,000 times 3.5 divided by 4,000, 2.625%. That's our C3. Any questions? When I first looked at this packet for teaching like the first couple of days of class, I had no idea how to solve these problems. I didn't have a clue. I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I looked it up and half the videos were totally confusing. They had all these charts and bullshit. It wasn't until I found this formula, because that formula made sense to me, that the problems became easy, you know? Because, you know, it was like, it's that most of the places that taught this, they don't give you that formula. They have this chart and they just magically start putting numbers in it. And they don't.
Yes, sir.
They didn't explain why very well at all. I had to go through like 3 or 4 different websites before I found one that said, you just start off with this and then solve. It's like, oh. Pretty much everything else in this packet I could figure out on the fly. It's been 10 years since I taught, so. I used to teach mainly pre-cal and calculus. All right, if you add a half a cup of creamer, which is 20% butterfat, so let's say V1 is a half a cup, and its concentration is 20% butterfat. We're adding that to 2 cups of coffee. V2 is 2 cups. So its concentration is 0%. So we're talking about the butterfat apparently. So with the cup of creamer is a 20% butterfat. The 2 cups of coffee don't have any butterfat. How many cups result? And what is the butterfat in the mixture? All right, well, B3 being B1 plus B2 is going to be 2.5 cups, 2.5 cups. So what is C3? The percent butterfat. So again, we have B1 C1 plus B2 C2 equals V3 C3. So C3 is just like the last problem, all that divided by V3. I like to wait until I have it solved before I plug the numbers in. It's typically how mathematicians do things. It's just less writing. So V1, a half a cup. I'll put it as 0.5 cups times 20% plus 2 cups at 0% over 2.5 cups. This is 0. So we have cups go away. So 0.5 times 20 divided by 2.5, which is 4%. All right, a recipe for Irish coffee calls for a quarter of a cup. V1 is a quarter of a cup, 0.25 cups of Bailey's at 12% alcohol. And then 1.5 cups of coffee, which would have no alcohol. How much liquid is there total in cups? V1 plus V2, that would be 1.75 cups. And what is the percent alcohol? Estimate a reasonable percent before you solve it. Well, let's see, we only got 1/4 cup at 12%. We're adding it to 1.5 cups. All right, so let's see, the ratio of Bailey's to coffee here is 4, 5, 6 to 1. So I'd say, like, since it's a ratio of 6 to 1, it takes 6 1/4 cups to make a 1.5 cup. I'm going to estimate 2%. All right, from 12% to 2%. That's my guess. So let's see here. We already know what C3 is. We've already done this. So this is going to be 0.25 cups of the 12%. So that's 1.5 cups, 0%, 1.75 cups. This is 0. Cups cancel. So we have 0.25 times 12 divided by 1.75, which is 1.71%. Any questions? Think y'all can solve these now?
Yes, sir.
I know some of these in here get a little bit more difficult. Let's look at this one. 2 quarts of half and half. Volume 1 is 2 quarts, and it's of half and half. It's at 10% butter fat. We're focusing on butter fat percentage. Is mixed with some whole milk. It's mixed with some whole milk at 3%. We don't know how much. All right, if there are 5 quarts in the mixture, so V3, V1 plus V2 is 5 quarts. All right, how many quarts of whole milk were used? Well, if you're taking 2 quarts and adding to it something and getting 5 quarts, clearly V2 has to be 3 quarts, right? So what is the percentage of fat in the mixture? So C3 equals what? Oops. Well, we already did that. Just need to plug in our numbers. So we got 2 quarts at 10% plus 3 quarts at 3% divided by 5 quarts. Those quarts all goes away. So we have, let's see, 2 times 10 is 20. And then 3 times 3 is 9. So we got 29 divided by 5, which is 5.8%. So that makes sense. We're mixing some 10% with some 3%. We should end up with a percent that's somewhere in the middle, right? 5.8%. All right, 2 liters of 3% milk is mixed with some 1% low-fat milk. So V1 is 2 liters, and it's 3% milk. V2, it says mixed with some. We don't know how much, but it's at 1%. All right, if there are 5 liters in the mixture, V3, which is V1 plus V2, is 5 liters. How many liters of the 1%? Well, if you had 2 and you're adding something to it to get 5, this obviously has to be 3 liters. What is the percentage of fat in the mixture? Same equation. So we got 2 liters at 3%, and then 3 liters at 1%, over 5 liters. Liters goes away. So we have 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 6 and 3 is 9. 9 divided by 5 is 1.8%. Makes sense. We have a 3% and a 1%. Mix them together, we should get something between 3 and 1. So 1.8. All right, so scientific notation. Did y'all want to do, I just kind of skipped them, but these basic percentages up here, like what percent of 54 is 17 and such?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's do some of these. Find 18% of 56. 56 times 0.18. 56 times 0.18 is 10.08. All right. 36% of what number? So we have some number. We're taking 36% of it, and we're going to get 33.12. So x is 33.12 divided by 0.36. 33.12 divided by is 92. So we could check our work, right? 92 times 0.36. Yeah, it gives us 33.12. So yeah. What percent of 54 is 17? So 54 times some percent is 17. So x would have to be 17 over 54. So 17 divided by 54 is 0.315 or 31.5%. We convert it to a percentage. What is 12% of 26? 26 times 12%, 26 times 0.12 equals 3.12. Would you rather use a 70% discount or a 40%, 20% discount than 10% discount? I don't understand that question. Yeah, I'd rather use the 70% discount, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. We already did those. Did we do this? We didn't do this one, right? Yvette knows the names of 8% of the students at Northwest Vista. there are 15,435 students. How many students does Yvette know by name? Well, here's the total. She knows 8%. 15,435 times 0.08, which is 4.8 students. All right, so that finishes it for our review of these proportions and percents. All right, I hope y'all have them down. Make sure you're working these, all the exponential and log and all that. We will get back
Yes,
to
sir.
it in depth. So hopefully we make it through all the homework in this packet. We'll see.
Yes, sir.
I'll see y'all on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend.
You
Have a
too,
great
sir.
weekend.
Have a nice day.
Have a good weekend.